totality, if one knows that individuality to be one with totality, and if one does not swerve from it, then having renounced or having left that identification with the body, that sense of identifying with the body, they attain all desires. Okay, so this whole thing here is actually understanding how we're connected to totality. And when we understand how we're connected to totality, then we rise from the individual body level. Identifying with individuality is the biggest sin. Is the biggest sin. Now, how are we connected to totality? Jay had asked this question and I had explained that it's from Mandukya Upanishad. I thought today we could reflect a little deeper on this because this is a sadhana. This is a spiritual sadhana and it is one of the biggest sadhanas. If we are able to take up this sadhana of constantly connecting ourselves to totality, we will become purified easily. And all these things will become so incredibly clear. Now, we think at so many levels, we are one. Now, I'm not even speaking about the level of consciousness, because that comes later. When we realize that we are Brahman, we are one. But I'm even speaking about the daily life. In daily life, we are actually one. Actually one. There's actually no two. So we'll start from very, very basic level. Level number 1. Level number 1, we are one because we are all seeking the same goal. Everybody's seeking happiness, right? Nobody is seeking to be sad. Everybody that we know, even ourselves, all we are doing is we are seeking happiness. Every day, this is what we do. We might think we're seeking money, but we're seeking money to be happy, to get peace. We might think that we're seeking power, but we're seeking power to be happy. So from the very fundamental level, we are one in that we all have one goal. There's no other goal actually. The only goal, everybody is seeking Brahman, but they don't know that it's Brahman. Right? Level 2. We are one because each of our thoughts, words, and actions affect each other. We are affected by each other's thoughts. If we're in a room, somebody maybe has very disturbed thoughts, you will feel that energy, you feel that vibration. If somebody has said a very nice word to you, that affects you. And if somebody said a very negative word, it affects you also. And definitely if somebody does something nice to you, you feel like doing something nice for everybody, for the next person that comes. I mean, this is clearly seen in today's world where you put up a post on X, right? In 1 minute. And then how that one post that you put up on X or Facebook, how many people does it have the power to affect? By that one post, actually economies can crumble. So just imagine, right? It is possible. And then by that one post also so much hope and positivity can come. So we are so dependent on each other because everyone's thoughts, words, and deeds have the power to influence each other. The third level is, if we think about it, actually we are not interdependent. We are drawing lines. Okay, this is the line of my body, right? But actually my body doesn't start and end here. Okay? We are drawing a line of a tree. Let's say a tree, you know, when you draw a tree, you see leaves and you see the trunk and you see the roots, and we call that tree. That is not the tree. Because that tree, that line that we're drawing is not the tree, because the tree cannot exist without the sunlight, without the rain, without the air. It cannot exist without all of that. So how can you just call that tree? It cannot be, right? We call just this box a computer. Okay, so it has a screen, it has the keyboard, etc. But that cannot be the computer, because what about the electricity that makes it work? What about all the thought that went to it, went to creating it, went to programming it? What about all that language that they used? We think that this box is the computer, but it's not. So we begin to draw lines and we feel that only that is that. But we forget that we are interdependent. So actually, when I touch this book, I touch God. Because this is made from paper. Paper comes from trees. The trees come because of sunlight and rain and wind, and all of that comes from God. But I don't feel that. I feel like I'm touching a book. That's our misunderstanding. But when you touch this, you touch God. So level 3. Level 4. Power year 1. As I said, we think that this is our body, this shape we draw, this is our body. Actually, it's not like that. Not that this is our body, not that we are made of 5 elements, right? We are 5 elements, in the sense that it's like you take the whole earth and sculpted out of this earth is the body, sculpted out of it. So there's earth here, there's earth in the body, there's earth here, there's earth everywhere. It's one earth. Sculpted out of the earth is the body. So we're not made of 5 elements, we are. If you take water, it's just one water. Sculpted out of the water is the water in this body. Annamaya kosha. You take fire, sculpted out of that heat, that sun that provides heat in the whole atmosphere, sculpted out of that is the heat in this body. So in this way, actually, you cannot separate. Like outside is earth, this is also earth, this is also earth, this is also earth. We're just sculpted out of one earth. We're just sculpted out of one water. So even in the Annamaya Kosha, in the food sheath, we are one. We are really one. And if you take food away from us, we cannot survive. Cannot survive. So this is food, that is food, everything is food. Food, food, food. If you remember, I had told you before, one great Mahatma said that when there's a plate of food in front of you, you call it food. But when it comes inside, you call it body. It's food. And then when we evacuate it, we call it waste. It's the same thing. Well, how did you call it? Just because it's in a different space, you called it body? It's food. It's food there. When it comes in, it's food. When it goes out, it's food. It's food, food, food. In the Pranamaya Kosha, this is now the 5th level, right? So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th level. Pranamaya Kosha, our breath is one breath. We cannot divide that this is my prana and that's your prana. When we sit together, we're all inhaling and exhaling the same breath. We're all doing that. That's why in COVID, everybody had to wear masks. Why? Because we're all inhaling and exhaling the same breath. Right? It's not that I'm exhaling only this breath and you're exhaling some other breath. You can't divide that. You can't divide air. There's one air. Manomaya kosha, sixth level now. Manomaya kosha, in the level of thoughts, there's also we're tuned into one cosmic mind. So we cannot have our own individual thoughts. There's no way that I have my own thought. In the sense that when I'm speaking now, it's because I learned the alphabets from somebody. It's because I learned the language from someone. It's because I learned this knowledge of this Upanishad from somebody. It's because I learned, how to dwell on oneness from somebody. It is all put together. It's not me just thinking. It's because I've learned so much from so many people. That's why this thought has come. So even in that, where do you draw the difference? I don't know how to draw the difference. If someone says, I know this, I actually don't know what I know, right? Because so much knowledge has come from so many different sources. So I actually don't know what I know. We come to level 7, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Now we say that I am this personality. I am this individual. This is me. This is who I am. And we try to stand out. But think about all the people who have influenced our lives and shaped our personality. I can't tell what is my personality, because I feel Gurudev has inspired so much of my life, and Swami Tapovan Maharaj and Swami Shivananda, Ananda Mahima, all of them have inspired my life so much that I don't know which part is what. How do you extract that this is my personality? You can't even think, because so many people have shaped our personality. It's so connected to totality. How do we draw the line? How do we say, yes, this is Shubhani? I think it's impossible. So when we are speaking, when we are thinking, it's totality really that is speaking and thinking through us. And level 8, of course, in the Anandamaya Kosha, and this we will see, when we go to deep sleep, we're all one. Deep sleep is all one solid experience for us, right? We experience nothing. So there's the experience of nothingness, and it's absolute pure bliss. Everybody has that same experience. We have that same experience of deep sleep. Even animals have that same experience. When a dog sleeps, it's the same as when we sleep. So these differences, they're existing only in our minds. The 9th level now. 9th level is difference exists in the mind. When the mind is active, when it's alert, all differences come into play. I see forms, I see shapes, I see colors, I see things. When the mind is in samadhi or in deep sleep, there's absolutely no difference. There's no differences. So difference, manyness, plurality, it comes in what is called vikshipta chitta. When the mind is moving, when the mind is acting, all differences happen. When the mind is withdrawn, there's no difference. So even if we look at day-to-day life, not even going to Brahman, we are one. This is what it means for individuality to surrender to totality. Even if we look at it this way, we are absolutely one. If one is able to keep this vision, tasmat chena pramadyati, if one is able to keep this vision and not swerve from it, sharire pap mano hitva, having abandoned the sins in the body, meaning having abandoned identification with individuality. When one is able to rise from this, because of surrender to totality, realizing our connectedness to totality, then we enjoy all desires, or we attain all desires. Why? Because we have no more individual desire. There's no more individual desire. How can we have individual desire if we have risen above our individuality? Cannot. So we attain all desires because our desires now are for totality. It can be in any field, any field. Let us say there's a doctor, and the doctor who has not risen above their individuality maybe might practice in the field of medicine to make money, to make a name for themselves, to become famous. They might practice in that way. And when their practice is solely about themselves, solely about making money, making a name for themselves, trying to get power, their minds will be incredibly agitated, going up and down, because the whole time they're trying to protect their ego in their profession. That's all that they're trying to do. In this profession, in this field, I'm just protecting my ego. And therefore, there's going to be a lot of agitation, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. But when one practices in the field of medicine, now with the vision of totality, because one has understood that there's no individuality, one practices with the vision of totality. Let this practice of medicine heal people, help people, nurture people. Because their vision is for totality, more people will come and help them in their vision, because it's benefiting all. And the whole exercise is not to protect the ego, in that it's actually to dissolve the ego. May I lose myself in totality. May I help others. May I serve others. May I do what I can for others. Because the vision is so noble, vision is for totality, everybody comes to help. And thus those desires are fulfilled. Because when one has desires for the benefit of totality, the whole of totality will come to back it up. And it will express. But when one has a vision of individuality, people will run away from that person also. Right? This is how one gains their desire. One gains all desires, because all desires become noble. This we can see in the lives of great saints and sages. They have become Satya Sankalpa. Satya Sankalpa means that all of their resolves are only for the benefit of totality. And because they have lived a life of truth, whatever they envision, it comes true. And not only they enjoy, that's the beauty about it, but everybody enjoys.